I wanted to talk to you about taming the ego instead of the self-affirmations. So this me emphasis is actually dangerous for the self. It can create people who are self-absorbed, arrogant, have narcissistic attributes, and can lead to making decisions based on the nafs, which is harmful unless these nafs were tamed and aligned with taqweed. We are not meant to do whatever we like, we feel like, want, because we all have toxic forces that impact us: society, shaitan, lack of knowledge, lack of faith, upbringing, attachment to the dunya, etc., etc., etc. So if I was to leave myself to myself, I would most likely fall into matters that I think are good for me but are not. This is super important to recognize. This is not to say that you don't look after yourself, your needs, well-beings, etc. Please don't get me wrong. But it's saying that if you don't do these things according to how Allah Swat and His Messenger taught us to do. I want to go through some positive Islamic affirmations that I think will benefit all of you. Alhamdulillah for everything. I am strong with Allah. Allah created me in the best of taqweed. So I have everything I need within to live my best self for His sake. Everything is good. I have ease in my heart, knowing that Allah is the most just and most merciful. Allah sees and rewards even when people don't. My intentions are not for worldly gain, rather than hereafter's focus. I am the most humble of Allah's creation. Allah will mend my wounds and heal me. It is important to remember that in Islam, we are taught to seek refuge from the evils of one's sins and desires in the embrace of Islam and Allah. And this is very, very important. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge in Allah. And this is a very critical point of view when talking about Islamic reminders and affirmations. Here's another beautiful and terrifying reminder from the Quran. Have you seen he who has taken on as his God his own desires? And Allah has sent him astray due to knowledge and has set a seal upon his heart. Such a terrifying option. And his heart, and put over his vision a veil. So who will guide him after Allah? Then will you not be reminded. This example is from the Quran and the Sunnah itself, and that is abjectly terrifying. In Islam, we must be careful about what we do with our words. I am guilty of this more than anybody, and I am absolutely certain many of you who listen to my affirmations and Islamic reminders know full well my battle with my language. Watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Watch your words, for they become your actions. Watch your actions, for they become your habits. And watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become. This brings me back to the very real realization that you have the power to love yourself stronger than anyone else but Allah. And I cannot stress that Allah is your refuge. And it is absolutely fine, even for male Muslims, to cry to God. Because God sees us in our darkest and weakest moments. He sees us in our most vulnerable and desperate moments. And that desperation and that vulnerability is unlike anything else. But back to having the power to love myself stronger than anyone else can love me. If you are anything like me, then you might have spent a large portion of your life looking for love outside of yourself. Be it the validation that comes from having a great career, getting married, of which I have personally failed, or having a large group of friends. I have that at least advantage. Your sense of being loved depends on another being or idea. But when you stop to think, only you have the power to love yourself more, because you and Allah SWT know yourself better than anyone else. By reminding yourself every day that your sense of love and self-worth is on you, you can soar past negativity. I believe that I can do anything. Society by nature tries hard to place you into boxes. This is included in the Muslim community. That box can be based on your racial makeup, on your ethnic background, and oftentimes that box is hard to escape. Yet if you choose to believe that you are not limited by this box, barring the limitations that Allah has placed you on, and you start to think outside of it, imagine what you can achieve within the realms of what our Creator has given you. You really can do anything, but again, check your arrogance, because that leads to shaitan. This brings me to another important point. I am only responsible for my own emotional feelings and actions. How many times have you been dragged into an emotional war zone with someone? How many times have you felt that your emotions are in direct response to how someone else feels or what they believe? Hopefully that number is low. To avoid this trap, start to tell yourself that you, and only you, are responsible for your emotions. If you often let how other people behave, feel, or think impact how you feel, you are giving away control over the one thing which is truly all your own. Forgiveness is one of Allah Swat's most many attributes. Therefore, in our faith, we are taught to emulate that virtue in all our lives. Whilst forgiving those who hurt you can seem difficult and at times unmanageable, it truly is the key to healing. With forgiveness, we learn to not be hard on ourselves and others. The aspect comes with our ability to love ourselves, which ultimately makes us mentally healthy. Now, I want to elaborate on this. Forgiveness is not necessarily you forgiving someone from their sins or their crimes against you or your loved ones. It is merely forgiving the pain that they have caused on you so that you can heal. And your healing is very important. This brings me to one of my last points on this video. Today I choose where to devote my energy. Your energy is valuable. Every time you use up energy, you are spending some of its value. Therefore, by picking where you devote your energy, you learn how best to invest the most valuable currency you own, your energy and your time. For no one is guaranteed tomorrow. And as I remind you all, always remember your daily salat, your prayers, and for a little bit of a giggle, make sure you drink some earth sauce, better known as water. These affirmations are ones I truly do feel. By the permission of Allah, money flows effortlessly to me. By remembering our Creator, He remembers us. And He created this universe. How can anybody assume that without remembering Him and honouring Him and giving grace to Him and acknowledging our relationship with Him, that wealth and prosperity doesn't flow from His endless coffers? With Allah's guidance, I am successful. There is no future forward. There is just the mad ramblings of those who have not seen or heard His words. Allah has blessed me immensely. This is by its very nature a beautiful reminder I cannot grasp how people don't see that Allah's blessing sits with you all, even when we make mistakes. But I feel that this is probably necessary to remind ourselves. For Allah sees me, as the Quran says in 11:112. Allah hears me, my call, 14:39. Allah is always near, 2186. Allah is in my heart to comfort me, 13:28. Allah loves, cares for me, 1996. Allah places boundaries to protect me, 9:112. Allah wants me to never lose hope, 39:53. Allah is the best helper for me, 3:150. Allah is enough for me, 9:129. Allah can revive me, 8:24. The past cannot be changed. It can only lie there to remind you of reality of who you are. The past has a way of wounding us. We sometimes rose tint the better days and ignore the worst. But to truly dive into your past gives you an understanding of who you are, acknowledging, listening, observing, and truly recognizing what the past stands for. It isn't who you are, but it can define who you can be. Opinions do not define your reality. Opinions are just that. Everyone has one, and everyone tends to want to give it freely. The most important opinion, barring that of Allah SWT and the gentle reminders given to us by our Prophet, peace be upon him, the most important opinion in your day-to-day life that you will have are yours. And I cannot stress this more, because everyone seems to worry and think about the opinions of individuals around them, but does not necessarily consider their opinions. For your own opinion is exactly the one you need to pay attention to, outside of the knowledge and guidance that your Creator has given you. Everyone's journey is different. How and where that journey is the uniqueness of you as a human being. We all walk in different directions. And how we intercross with each other is a beautiful thing. As this Suleiman the Magnificent once said, we are a multicolored tapestry woven by Allah. Judgments are a confession of character. You hear bandied around quite often, you can't judge me. Well, this is not totally correct, youngsters and people who listen to my ramblings. Judgment is, by its nature, what is apparent. What we see is apparent is what is judged. And there is no gentle way of putting that or gentle way of acknowledging that, but what we see is what we judge. And that is very important. It is the nature of who we Muslims are. Because unlike these Tupac quotes that really have no business being in Islam, only God can judge me, I didn't remember that Tupac wasn't our Messiah or our Prophet. Astaghfirullah. Overthinking will lead to sadness. I've seen and heard this affirmation quite a bit. It is a declaration to just do it. And I remind you, when listening to what I say, just do it. If there is a task you have, do it. If there is a dirty job that needs doing, just do it. For then the things that you want to do come around. make sure, like, do your wudu, do your salat, do your Quran. These actions lead to habits, and habits lead to character. Habits are a very important thing to learn, to master, to be able to push yourself forward. Happiness is found within. To be happy amongst yourself and your own time and energy is very, very critical. I cannot stress this more because it is by its very nature the reality we live in. We are never happy unless we are found to be happy amongst ourselves. Self-reflection and time on our own is very critical. It is designed to center you. Smiles are contagious. Everyone likes to smile. And my laughter, I'm told, is very contagious. And I have always believed that is a great benefit about being Muslim. It is the sunnah to smile. It is the sunnah to be kind and gregarious. You might need to look that word up. Involving other people. Kindness is free, and it should be given freely to all your fellow men. And that is something that I cannot stress more. You are only failed if you quit. This is a very true affirmation. I cannot stress this one myself. Quitting is absolutely the worst thing. When I was writing my book, there were many a time I wanted to quit. Whether my book is good or not is irrelevant. The fact that I have written it and published it is by its own virtue a determination of refusing to quit. Quitting is unquestionably the failure itself. You do not fail until you quit. No matter how you feel, though, throughout this day, get up. Make ablutions and never give up. Lead your heart to prayer, and one day your heart will lead you to prayer. This is what I say about repetition. This is why it's important to go through these motions every single day. Your 5 daily prayers, your wudu, reading Quran. These things are very, very important because it is the nature of who we are and how we do what we do. And very importantly, Allah does not burden a soul beyond that which it can bear. And that always profoundly shocks me when I read that. But then I remember we must continue to make dua, for you may not receive what you want when you want it immediately, but Allah is always moving, creating, supporting, for He is the tireless one, the one who never, ever, ever gets tired.